The Diary of Anne Frank is one of the most well-written and read books in history. Anne received her diary on her 13th birthday. Little did she know that she would be writing in it for a scary and long, fearful journey. Anne Frank was born in 1929 in Germany, but because her family was Jewish, they moved to Holland. Life was good for her, except for the fact that she had to obey the restrictions and the rules set by the Nazis. One of which that stated all Jews had to wear a star on their chest. Anne's sister Margot got a letter saying that she had to go to a labor camp. The Franks didn't want her to go, so they went into hiding. Anne would never think of it as a home, but it would have to do. It was too small and cramped for anyone to live in. Anne thought of many different ways how to make it homey. So she hung up her pictures of her celebrities that she had at her old house. The Franks could not afford to be seen, so instead of having a door to the attic, they had a bookcase. Even though it was tight, the Franks had enough room to have one more family. Mr. Frank invited his work partner, Mr. Van Daan, and his wife, Mrs. Van Daan, and their son, Peter Van Daan, to stay with them until the war ends. One of Mr. Frank's co-workers, Miep Geese, agreed to help out the Franks and gather anything they needed once a week. She was not Jewish, so she could go into the public, but she had to be secretive to gather all the things. Whatever she could grab, the Franks were very thankful for. They knew that they were very fortunate and lucky. Even though it's tough, they knew it was better than going to a labor camp. For the 2 years that the Franks were there, Miep always celebrated everyone's birthday and also celebrated Hanukkah with them. Miep was a saint to everyone. Every night, the Franks and the Van Daans would sit and talk together. Some nights were boring, and some nights were scary, and some nights were really fun and exciting and very talkative. More than a year after the Franks and the Van Daans moved in, Fritz Pfeffer, a dentist, moved in. He was not very kind, and he was a dentist. Anne despised Fritz. He always stole her desk. Mr. Frank had the idea of both of them getting different hours to use the desk. Anne didn't like this idea because she had less amount of hours than him. Anne did not like Mrs. Van Daan. She always bragged about how her life is better, and she was really mean. Mr. Van Daan was no better. He always smoked his cigar and made fun of Anne for reading so much. At the beginning of the story, Peter Van Daan was the absolute worst, but as the story progressed, Anne had a little affection for him. They both loved each other and would sometimes get caught kissing in the attic. Someone had found out that the Van Daans and the Franks were in hiding in the attic. The Franks and the Van Daans were taken out of their home, and all that was left was Anne's diary, a few of her papers, and the rest of their clothes. Everyone who had lived in the secret attic died at the concentration camp, except for Mr. Frank, who died in 1985. There are a few reasons why I read this book. First off, I've heard a lot of people recommend this book to me. Second reason why is my mom went to Europe one time, and she went to the Anne Frank attic, and she said it was really cool and fascinating. I would recommend this book to everyone because it is really heartfelt and it would really make you enjoy the little things in life. Because Anne had to go through so much, with living in really crowded spaces to having food shortages.